Hello, this is Matthew from LudoChrono, and today I'm going to give you an overview of Cthulhu Death May Die. It is a cooperative dungeon crawler for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and it plays for around 90 to 120 minutes. So this is a game in which you play as an investigator and you want to investigate something. And you want to defeat a great old one. The way it goes is you select an episode, you have 6 of them in the call box, a great old one, you have 2 of them in the call box, and you mix and match those and it creates your scenario. So in this case, we want to beat Haster, and it is going to be summoned and we can disrupt the ritual. If we do so, if we do disrupt the ritual, we gain an advantage, an edge over the bad guys, and we go quicker. So every player is going to be represented by a miniature, but also by a player board. And on the player board, you have a sanity track, and you die if you reach the end. However, you gain levels of skill every time you pass those thresholds. So you get closer to strength at the end of the game, but you're also closer to death. Additionally, you have a madness card that dealt at the beginning of the game, and it's going to hinder you in some ways every time you pass a threshold. You also have those, so you have health, which is health, and you lose it, you die. And finally, you have stress, which are rerolls that you can use, or resource that you can spend to do a few things. So now we also have a layout of the board, and we have a main board with our threats, the Great Old One, and a scenario card. The scenario card is going to give us what we should do to disrupt the ritual. And finally, we have the Great Old One's track, and every time they move towards being summoned. When they are summoned, they go on the board, we have to kill them and replace them with this tracker. And if this tracker reaches the end of the track, we lose the game. So how do we play this game? So this game is played over a series of player rounds. You're going to play your entire turn and then you move on to the next player. So on my turn, I have 3 actions I can perform out of moving, attacking, resting, trading items with people in my space, or performing the actions listed on the scenario card. So every episode has its rules, its different actions. So if I move up to 3 spaces. So for example, I could do 1, 2, and maybe 3. I could stop there if I wanted. But if you enter a space that contains a monster, that monster comes with you. And this is not very nice because it's going to hit me until at the end of the turn. However, my character has stealth, could avoid the monster. In this case, I'm not going to. Then I can attack. If I take an attack action, I'm going to roll the 3 black dice. And the dice, they have elder signs which do nothing except you have skills to trigger them, successes, and madness. If you roll madness, you're going to move up the sanity track. So I'm going to roll my dice, and in this case I have 2 successes and 1 madness. I will move up the sanity track. I have 2 successes, I will deal 2 damage to the cultist. They have 2 life, so that cultist is removed. So that's how you beat monsters in this game. Obviously, some monsters have to be wounded because they have more life. You're going to use life tokens to do so, to mark their wounds. So now I have performed 2 of my actions. Let's imagine I had lost some health and stress. I could rest and heal 3 points of stress and health. So 1, 2, and 3. So I could change them up and heal both. And then that's the end of my turn. At the end of my player turn, I will draw a Mythos card. So those Mythos cards, what they do is they bring us closer to the Great Old One being summoned. If there is this symbol, it's probably very bad for us. Then you resolve the card from top to bottom. In this case, they say each Haster disciple moves 2 spaces towards you. There is none. And then you summon a Haster disciple on the yellow portal, which is here. So you've done the card, and then you can move on to what happens then. Then you investigate or you fight. What happens is you fight if there is a monster in your space. So you will roll a certain number of dice based on the monster, and every monster in your space will attack you, and you may gain sanity if they roll black dice, or even health, and health only with the green dice. Then you can investigate if there is no monster in your space. This cultist is in another space, as you can see here. So if you are in a safe space, you're just going to draw a discovery card and flip it. And then you have a choice, which is presented in the black box. So in this case, I can recruit a peacock for the cost of 2 stress or become ensorcelled, because in this scenario, there is a ball and there are a lot of exotic animals. In this case, I'm going to take the peacock, paying my 2 stress, and I'm going to slide that card underneath my player board, which is an ally, so it's going to grant me additional abilities. Also, they can suffer damage in my place. You can have items, conditions, allies, you can have a lot of things there. And sometimes it's positive, sometimes negative. So now we move on to the end of turn. At the end of turn, you're going to check a few things. For example, do we have 3 symbols discarded on the Mythos cards? If not, it's okay. If it is the case, you're going to shuffle those Mythos cards into the deck, and the Great Old One is going to advance. And every time they advance, you will have something happen. So usually it's on the Great Old One card and on the scenario card. So usually it pushes the scenario forward. Then if we resolve the objective, in this case it's finding sorcerers among the ball goers and bringing them to the waterfront. If you disrupt the ritual, the Great Old One is going to be summoned, but it's going to be easier for you. However, if you do not disrupt the ritual, if the Great Old One reaches the red space, you're going to use that in place of the Great Old One, but it's going to be summoned and you don't skip that phase. You skip a phase only if you disrupt the ritual. So you're going to have a harder time if you don't disrupt the ritual, but at the same time, well, if it's too late, it's too late. You need to beat all of the remaining phases, and it's a lot of health that you're going to lose. So every Great Old One is going to have their own mechanics. For example, Haster is going to give players the yellow signs, and they are bad, they are curses. Cthulhu summons parts of the city on the board, and so on and so forth. So we are going to win if we defeat the Old One. We are going to lose if that turn tracker is going to be there, or if we lose too many investigators, or if we lose them too early. That's it for the basics of Cthulhu Death May Die. So this is a big game in which you try to coordinate and you try to disrupt a Great Old One's ritual and summoning whilst resisting to madness. Bye bye, see you on LudoChrono.